And we now give the floor to Nigeria Customs Service to brief us what they have come. We have 1 or 2 questions, and thereafter we'll conclude the meeting. Thank you. You are welcome.
It's that custom created for steam or transfer of cargo from other ports to terminals, in which the CGC and the DCG unequivocally said no, we do not have 18 seats, but she will verify. When she came back, she mandated me to check and cross-check the number of seats we have for steam cargo and transfer cargo to all bonded terminals. It is important to note that we did not communicate, but we went ourselves to check how many seats do we have for these processes. Are these seats in line with revised Kyoto conventions? Are they in line with trade facilitation agreement which you have signed and domesticated? What we found is interesting for you to know. These are the number of seats that operates, and I'm sure if you are to get any member or members to cross-check this is what they will find on ground. As you suggested, CSC, DC revenue, and OC bond and exist. Actually, it's not what we have found that exists. What we found, we have the CSC who received the application, then the DC revenue who now minute to technical supervisor to verify and modify this request, then the OC bond who now registered the bond because there must be a collateral to secure the duty liability of this cargo to be transferred. Then we have the escort. This thing is on bond and is sealed and it has marks on number. There is need to escort it to ensure that it has not been tampered with. Then after the escort, we have the exit. The exit, they check through the system because the system is automated. Because once the TS verify and modify, a transient is generated with the mother port and the terminal will see it seemingly. Automatically, when the cargo reaches there, a learning certificate will just be generated automatically. So in reality, what we have the CSC, the DC revenue, the technical supervisor, the OC bond, the gate, and the escort. And I have told you why this thing exists, these seats exist. Thank you, sir.
Do you mean that when the advice come? Okay, CSC.
Yes.
Okay, I was surprised when you said CSC. I was thinking
the area controller.
Okay.
The DC revenue, the technical supervisor, the OC bond, and the gate and the escort. The escort, I've told you why. Whatever consignment that we have on board, it has a seal and marks and number. For those things not to be tampered with, an escort officer has to escort that particular consignment to its final destination, where a learning certificate will be generated. And it will interest you to know that this process has been automated. The transient is generated automatically, and the landing certificates, once the cargo reaches there and they receive it, it will be issued automatically.
Okay. Like how many seats now?
Now what we have the area controller,
1,
the DC revenue,
2,
the TS who is in charge of verification and modifying of this
Transaya, 3,
then we have the OC bond,
4,
we have the gate,
5,
we have the escort.
6.
And each of these, I've told you why they are there. Thank you, sir.
Now, and you think this seat, like how many days does it take to conclude if one want to pass through this process?
When a system is operated, which means it's a seamless process. So it depending on who is the declarant. And we know.
For example, ICNN, that is known to you.
Okay, the RCLM were in Apapa with the area controller because we told them, go and meet the area controller and confirmed what you have alleged. He even wrote an apology letter to the area controller that actually what they counted were not 18 seats.
There are how many seats they counted?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Okay, my colleagues have a question, but before then,
okay.
Who are also into trade, we ask them, okay, let us try custom and see whether what they have come to tell us is true. Can we do that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Honorable Mukhtar, go ahead.
Question, at the end of the day, where do you do the final clearance process?
The final clearance process ends at the terminal operator because now you have already seen the cargo. And
so
you have put
there, if you have a CAC,
okay,
the CAC will also go through all these things that you have mentioned.
Yes.
So if I may suggest, why do you need DC revenue? Because the revenue is not coming to him.
Yes. Why we need DC revenue is, you see, when we had Escort, we had APM, Area Project Manager.
Yes.
Now, Escort project has ended. Process are being done. And in line with World Customs Organization guidelines on clearance process, we have 3 stages. The declarant, then the customs. The declarant has the right to declare what he imports or he is clearing on behalf of the importer. Then the customs, they have 2 cardinal issues to address, to verify and examine. Verification can take...
You are confusing my question. My question is not about that. You told me the clearance is done at the destination.
Yes.
The final destination.
Yes.
What we are talking about now...
The head of the whole command.
I don't have a problem with the area controller looking at it.
And the technical supervisor is directly under the DC revenue.
No, sir, you are still confusing me. See, the finance clearance...
Who supervise the activities of the TS. Now, the Escort project had gone. Now we need somebody to supervise the activities of the TS. And the person to do that is the DC revenue.
Speak the local language
Is the DC revenue.
You don't understand what I'm saying. To a layman, and I think everybody here will agree with me, to a layman, you don't trust your officers all the way to Kaduna. That's what you are saying.
It's not, no.
So then if you have, for instance, I'm coming, sir. When it left the point of origin to your place,
okay,
you understand, when it came into Nigeria,
yeah,
you understand, if it's going to be cleared in Tinkan or Apapa, I don't have a problem doing this process.
okay.
But you know you have somewhere that is going to destined, it will arrive there as a final, and you are going to have all these officers doing what has been done in Apapa. Definitely, you are repeating you have congestion.
Okay,
why?
Please let me come in. Now you have a container to be transferred to a bonded terminal. Now a declaration is made and a request is made for the transfer of this container. The area controller approves this request. There is need to verify and do a system check to ensure that the marks and number of this container tallies with what is in our manifest. It's for control purposes. Now, the DC revenue, he is the one who directly supervises the technical supervisor. And the technical supervisor is the one who does the verification and modification of this document.
What we are saying, this is from your own point of view, but what we are saying, we want to clear this process to reduce this number of... This is what we are doing, what you are doing. I'm coming, sir, this is what we are doing. But what we are saying is, one, you are duplicating it, because when it gets to the final destination, you are going to have something similar. And two, you see, not that we did not do investigation before we came in. What you have in Apapa, you have about 12 or 13 seats here. Maybe the DCG did not tell you, but let me tell you what you have. And this one, we sent 5 different people to these 2 ports to investigate without the custom knowing. And what came out of it is, you have the CSC's office. It will go to DC admin. it will go to DC Revenue, it will go to OC Bond, who verifies if the bond is still in force. It goes to Bond Annex, that is inputs bond number, to input the bond number. Then you have manifest seat, you have technical supervisor, capture on IMB, assistant technical supervisor, he who reroutes the declaration depending on where it's going. Said, you are shaking your head, but this is true. This is what has happened. Then you have fast track for releasing document. You have DC compliance for final whatever. Then you have DC enforcement, OC tally, CIU, APMT for generating exit, staff officer for printing, OC main gate for approval, and finally you have exit registration at main gate. We sent 5 different people to go, and the only word they did not agree is at the exit. But every other step, it follows like that. Now, if you have an automated system, the way I mentioned that you have automated system, if you have automated system, even this 6, you don't need it. I'm telling you, you don't need the document to be moving from one table to the other if you have an automated system that is online. Take Form M, for instance. You used to have about 6 copies, physical, that were going. But because the system has been automated, only 1 entry goes in and 1 output.
And everybody will see.
If the CAC minutes on that document, because he has to see it, I agree. You understand? Manifest is in the system. Whatever it is that you are doing is in the system. So why do you need to be carrying the file from even these 6 steps? Is too long. Thank you. Maybe you allow Sayudi to respond.
Maybe you can bail T&T ACG out.
Thank you. It's unfortunate that I can safely say this is an allegation. And the most unfortunate thing about this thing is that it's unfortunate. In the month of July, the Controller General set up a team in the month of July to meet with all the stakeholders, to hear from them where they have issues, and they should feel free. The session we had, normally in the morning, we meet with the stakeholders. No custom officer is there, so that they can talk to us freely. Thereafter, the outcome of their meeting, we now reconverge with our officers. The issue of saying we have so and so number of 18 seats, believe you me, it's an allegation. And it's because whenever you want to do the right thing, people will try to fight you back. Because the outcome of that, our sensitization, we say that henceforth, since we had interactive session with you, whatever issues you have, come up with it. But thereafter, if you are, the service will hit you back. The issue.
Can I say something? Up to the time that the DCG left here, it was an allegation.
No,
so I'm coming, sir. We agreed in a subcommittee to say, okay, let us not only work with this allegation, let's send people out. I'm telling you, we sent 5 people out differently. You understand? I'm coming, sir. These 5 people out, they missed only 1 point, that point of exit. But all these seats that I mentioned, they exist. You see, the problem is, maybe you have 6, but what your officers are doing in the field, they can multiply without you knowing it. I'm telling you.
Excuse me.
You need to investigate before we...
Honorable Mukhtar.
Yes, sir.
The issue of DC revenue is just supervisory. I was a DC revenue, I was an APM for many years. And I stand to be challenged. No importer, no declarant will ever say he even had to follow his process to my office, either as APM or as DC revenue. Mine was purely supervisory. And our target is to facilitate trade. Believe you me, it may interest you to note, even though we Nigerians don't appreciate, of all the over almost 200 member nations of WCO, only 14 were adjusted to have simplified clearance procedure. And Nigerian Customs happened to be one of it.
DCG told us this last time.
I'm coming.
Let me finish.
For somebody to even say, to start mentioning these things, honestly, we are gentlemen officers, and we cannot come here and say we want to say somebody's misdeed and put our reputation at stake. I stand to be challenged again. We were in Kano recently, the same ICN in Kano.
ACG, what we are talking now, let us even say you don't have this 18 seats or 24.
Just explain the role and each of everyone.
Let us look at it one by one. You see, what he is saying, I agree with him. As long as you have this revenue where the container or the item is going as final destination, they don't have any role to play at the.
Do you know
the
both bond, OC bond and TS are domiciled under the DC revenue? And what I'm saying now, please,
ACG.
our words are our bond.
ACG.
We stand to be challenged.
ACG.
Yes.
You see, with automation, you bring everything to minimum simplicity. Now you are just confessing that the DC revenue, or the two people, the TS and the OC bond, they refer to the DC revenue.
Yeah.
So if you are automated, you need to get rid of two.
Honorable Mukhtar, excuse me. Do they take the advantage of the beauty of the automation? From the last port of call, the manifest is transmitted into custom portal. So immediately you come and process all your papers, so that by the time the ship batch, even if it is 2 weeks after, all you do is that same day you carry your containers out. But they don't until when the ship has batted offloaded, maybe it's running into demurrage, they started paying the terminal, then they will come out. But as long as the manifest is transmitted into custom portal from the last point of call, you come forward, process all your documents.
What about that?
Honorable Jerry Olagoso, good afternoon, sir.
That shows that you trust your system. Does it mean that despite the automation, because you seem to be so sure, do you have any problem with the integrity of your automation process or your personnel?
No, we don't. But despite the automation, we need to work in line with World Customs Organization guidelines.
Okay, just wait. You land at once.
Note down the question so that you can respond.
What my chairman and the honorable that was wearing uniform, who is no guy wearing your uniform, what will you lose if you take it their way and ensure that people, because we are talking about an economy that is crumbling, and we are thinking of ease of doing business in Nigeria. And people will come and do business with us when they are sure that they will come. I do importation. So some of these things they are saying, I might not be an expert in it, but I know what people suffer, which probably you don't know. And you said you have no problem with the integrity of your system. I am sure there's a problem you will not want to tell this committee. But if that is the case, will you want to tell us anything, any loss you suffer if you allow the process go seamless the way they are suggesting, say within a day? Because automation means one person put it in and everybody sees it and it goes.
Yes. Thank you, sir. He raised issue on the integrity of our process as it has already been automated. Automation does not mean that you allowed the system to go unchecked. Because in line with the WCO guidelines, despite the fact that you have automated your process, you need to verify and check what the clearance has declared. And what ACG Saidu said, once a manifest is transmitted from the last port of call, the broker or the importer has the leverage to make his request or declaration based on the information on that manifest. If he does that, when the ship arrives, all he needs to do is...
ACG, we are not talking about clearance here. We are talking about transfer process.
Okay, the transfer process. On the transfer process, he asked, what do we lease?
Let us give the ACG that can get a chance to say something.
But this thing has to do with DC revenue, sir. I need to clarify
why we should have a DC revenue. Let them try to answer, but the answer is not. That's why I said we have not had the answer. No, let maybe if the three of them for them.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. I think I just want to bring about practical experience about these inland containers. I think I've operated the two in the north, Kaduna Dry Port and Kano. So all the, I think there's a bit of disconnect. My colleague should have just answered. The honorable member was asking why, if there was interface of all these 6 seats or so, which I believe are not even 6, because Escort is not a seat. It's never a seat. Because Escort, you just apply outside the main command, in most cases, federal operations. And they now avail you the Escort, you just... This is what I'm saying. So Escort cannot be part even of the seat. So the seats, as you mentioned, there are still 5 or not 6. So if all these people, the CAC, DC revenue, OC bond exit, and the last, if they work on this transire to facilitate this transfer from the mother port to the bonded terminal, that does not mean that the receiving command has no role to play again. The CAC generally has less role to play. I was a CAC in Kaduna, and I had no business with a container coming into Kaduna. The whole process was handled in the inland container. They give the landing certificate, because that was the first thing a receiving terminal does, to ensure that your container has landed, and this is the evidence, custom, the escort, and the driver, they have dropped their container and has been received in the receiving terminal. So it's just a question of the normal procedure. You do your assessment, and you do your assessment, and I think the seats are, I don't think they are even up to this.
Well, ACG, we are getting you little by container. But that was what they said that day, Abby. That was what they said that day. But the madam said it's not true.
It's not true, can't be.
So please, you have to, some of these things, some officer may hide under this, and that's why we say we check again. We check again. If you have only 5 seats, we can discuss today to limit it to 3 or 4, so that, let's say, if you receive advice from CAC office, CAC just sends straight to bond seats. So we have some experts here, but that is my own idea, and I believe for us to have a seamless operation, CAC to bond seat to the exit. That's all. It's finished. 2 of my colleagues have questions. Honorable Mutari, you have a question?
Interact with the Controller General of Customs, but he's not here. Why? Secondly, it is very important.
Our colleague will answer you because you came late. Okay, Honorable Goli will answer you that question.
Okay. Secondly, this issue of discussion, everybody knows, even a blind man knows that there is problem in the customs. Because one, the issue of handling and the congestion in the ports, everybody is aware of it in this country because they are responsible for that. And if we come to the major and the most unfortunate situation we are facing as a nation now, is the infiltration of the army and ammunition in this country, in most of our borders. Despite the fact that it's not the issue of discussion, but this issue when we have an opportunity, because our people that we are representing, and as leaders, we need to address this very fundamental problem as a committee, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sure you are passionate. You have been talking of this. I'm very sure we are working on it.
Allow me to.
I want to tell you that we are working on it. That's why we need you also.
Because
we need scanners, and we have informed Ministry of Finance to provide scanners for them.
Mr. Chairman,
for this arms and ammunition.
So that you can address. So basically and holistically, because we as a committee, we want them to work efficiently and smoothly, and also to make a success in their working for condition. So that is why we are here. So these issues, we need to discuss it, Mr. Chairman, and you need to address it as our chairman of the committee and interface with them on a very serious note to look into most of these fundamental problems, because a lot of people are dying. They are the ones that are responsible for manning of all our borders and all our seaport. So where are these arms and ammunition are coming? You will say that there is no problem. So as a matter of fact, we are here as a responsible house, and we need to be proactive to ensure that those things was managed well and responsibly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Suggestion before the...
Okay, sir. Of trade, it can be seen from so many perspectives. You can look at the perception of trade from the point of the clearing agent. From that of the importer, it's anxiety, 6 points they have, are so many, the identification functions. I think the best thing we do is to tell them to prune down the number of seats and see the consequences. So that we don't argue as if they are on hot seats. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I said it. I said the technical man going to work. It will help the custom. Actually, I know custom is trying. Look at the revenue. As at last week, what I was told, they were at 1.4, 1.5 trillion. So, and then they have done well. Actually, the naira fall, but despite that, we should give it to them. And we want you to be able to do more. And that's why we're after this, because the more the turnover of those items, the more custom get revenue too. So this is just the bottom line. Honorable Jaffa, that's your question, then we allow them to speak, then we have a common arrangement, and then we run it on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Form of advice. Simply because of we are at the global age, I think we need to update ourselves, particularly in terms of your day-to-day activities. I think if you can, I don't know, if you are not saying that you downgrade the public, that's how they was operating then. But now, they have, I don't mind, even it is 100 deaths you need, because I really knew that you need attitude. But when somebody pay it once, it will appear, even if it is 100 intentions, by introducing this good software that can one things of the order, or you have order missions. I don't see reason why that things will follow from this. But when you pay once, it will appear to every desk that you need. Even if you need 100 desks, it will appear at once, and it will do. Like in Kotonou now, you can buy a car today or container today. They will do it the same day. It will come out in a particular day, just a single day. But now you spend like 3 weeks before your container came out. So we are trying to downgrade ourselves. That is my advice, man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Lim. You have something to say? Any question, please? I want our question to be related to
the committee. Okay, a word of advice given to the committee. I think the committee has the disposition in its capacity to come out with a kind of an act or a process, to ensure enforcement the way it will be easy for Nigerians. and those who do business genuinely with customs. That is my contribution. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. One of the record this transfer process is going to be there, but we don't want to do it alone. We want to do it with them, so that custom, because it's their own baby, and we want it to work well for them. So it's going to be in the act. I think we're almost done. We should receive it in this committee by this week, according to what I have from CGC yesterday. So we are working on that. It will be there, and we want to have an agreement now before the act comes, so that it will be there. Once it's already in black and white, nobody can change it again, except there is an amendment in future. And this issue of automation, I think that is the only final. That's what the Honorable Chafai was trying to say, that if you have a one-stop shop, that is automation, that's okay. I want to transfer this container, this is my bill of lading, and the bill of lading is already closed. The terminal that is going. It's just a matter of putting it in the system, sending the message to Kano or to Kaduna or to Ibadan. And then the next thing is just to see the container there. So if there's a way you can reduce this 6 for 5 table or 5 stages to only 3 or 2 even, it will help the system. Custom is already doing well, as I said, in terms of revenue. And you will do better if you can pull down this system.
Except if you are interested in moving the physical file, and that is where the problem is. So if you are not moving the file, just make it, if I were you, I'm coming. If I were you, just make it CAC, DC, revenue, and you pass. Because the bond officer reports to him. Isn't it?
I just said now that congestion in Nigerian ports is attributed to custom. If you are, thank God, a lot of you are importers. If you are compliant, from the time you make your declaration, you make your payment, within 6 hours you are outside custom control. But how do you get out of the back road?
You are talking about clearing. We're not talking about clearing.
No, I'm referring to the member that just said down, which led to the issue of arms and ammunition. On Saturday, between Funtua and Bakori, 3 of our officers were killed. On Saturday, they marched our officer, cut him into pieces along Ikiti Road. We are Nigerians, we are human beings, we are family. Believe you me, no matter how poor a custom officer, you will not see arms and ammunition as they pass. Because you don't know who this arm will be used against. Vis-a-vis drugs. So, custom officers and men are equally patriotic Nigeria. Congestion, there are many stakeholders that you cannot attribute to Nigeria. Thank God a lot of you are importers. You clear your goods, but before you get access out, it will take you another 2 weeks. How will you transfer that fault to customs? And on the issue of
it's not the congestion. We know the cause. We know the cause.
No, but a distinguished member raised
but no problem. You are already clearing. Are we arguing with you now?
On the issue of one-stop shop, compliance. Believe you me, every day we'll be advocating, even when we went for this nationwide sensitization, we've been preaching to them the beauty of being a voluntary compliant trade.
Remember what God did when he was there? The same day, it comes out. There was no all these stories. And I have told you that we are going to test the system ourselves, then we will now come and tell you. Whether this seat has been reduced to 3, we will know. Because as you see us, either you are building a house or your relative has something, you must have something to do with the port. So when I have the container, I just got ACG, Sedu. I want to lodge in I give I send them my Chazaya today. Let us see how many days it will take. I will tell you. So let us maintain this seriously. Please, you pass this message across all the ports. Apapa, Tinkan, I think KLT is still existing, is there. One, Area 1, all these major ports, you pass the message, let it be written, let it be signed by the DCG in charge, so that even we too will have the copy. We will follow up. Because what the accusation they are giving to us as a committee is that we don't follow up. That when we talk like this, we agree, we don't check. But this time, we want to be checking time to time. So that if we notice anything, I will tell the DCG immediately. So that this is what we are noticing. And not only that, we are going to send some of our members to go on notice and check. So this is just what we want to achieve today. Some of our members have a question. One of our members has a question outside this. I said no, but
if some in Nigeria, once a car comes in without a duty.
Okay, the smuggled vehicles.
Cars. Yes. My problem is, if an ordinary person bought a car without a duty, and he wants to use this car, and he wants to pay a duty, you say you will not pay, you will not allow him to pay the duty. What does he do with that car? That's my question.